This past December, Will Duffy offered to take some prominent folks who believe that the Earth is flat to Antarctica to demonstrate that, just as the sun is up for more than 24 hours near the North Pole in June, it is also up for over 24 hours near the South Pole in December. The point of this is to demonstrate once and for all that the Earth is not flat. Here's Will Duffy to explain the project.
And then one day, I was watching an interview, and that is where I finally got the idea for the final experiment. It was David Weiss. He is best known as Flat Earth Dave. And here's what he said.
One of the arguments that people give is on a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica. And I totally agree. But there is no midnight sun in Antarctica.
That's it. Antarctica and the 24-hour sun. But most importantly, Dave Weiss made me realize the single most important thing when it comes to the final experiment is that both sides agree. Both sides agree that if there is a 24-hour sun, we live on a globe with Antarctica as an island at the bottom of it. And both sides agree that if there's not a 24-hour sun, we live on a flat plain with Antarctica encircling the rest of the continents. This was the most important foundation for the final experiment. Agreement from both sides on what the results of the experiment would prove.
Now you may wonder, if you're not well versed in how flat earthers view the planet, how that would prove that the Earth is not flat. Well, the most popular model of the Earth to which flat earthers subscribe is the azimuthal equidistant projection. This is a way of visualizing the Earth such that it is shaped like a disk with the North Pole at the center, and the South Pole doesn't really exist. Rather, it is a circle around the circumference of the disk. Proponents of this model believe that Antarctica is really an ice wall that goes around the edge of the Earth, preventing the oceans from spilling out. This should be easy enough to debunk simply by going to Antarctica and seeing that it isn't a wall, it's just a continent. Flat earthers sometimes claim that there are guards around the coast of Antarctica that turn people away so they can't discover that it's really an ice wall and not a continent. Not only do they claim that Antarctica is not a continent, they claim that the reason why there's a 24-hour sun near the North Pole in June is because the sun is like a spotlight that rotates tightly around the center of the disk in June, and then around the circumference in December. This also supposedly explains why there is more than 24 hours of darkness in the north in December. The problem, though, is that if the sun is just a spotlight and the South Pole is not a point, but rather the whole circumference of the planetary disk, then there can't be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica at all, because there's no way for the sun to cover the whole thing at once as it does the North Pole. There's certainly no way for it to stay over the whole South Pole for the whole time that it is rotating around the surface of the Earth.
You might wonder why the sun never sets in Antarctica on the globe. In reality. That's because the Earth is tilted in relation to the sun by about 23.5 degrees.
And then when it's winter in the north, you like to put the sun at the other tropic, which you think gives you the shorter days up north that you want, but in the south it's total chaos. You have the sun tracing this enormous trajectory, which would leave everything out here in darkness for most of the day, when in reality there are long periods of time in Antarctica where the sun never sets.
That you can get 24 hours of sunlight in Antarctica at certain points in the year, which of course absolutely destroys the flat Earth.
Because of this model, many flat earthers insist that there is not and cannot be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So by going down there and live streaming it, the final experiment is dispelling this flat Earth model pretty conclusively.
A 24-hour sun is a sun that is visible in the sky all day and never sets. It's visible in the sky all 24 hours. Flat earthers said for almost a decade that there was not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. They were wrong. Flat earthers said for almost a decade that a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would prove the globe, as a 24-hour sun in Antarctica would not be possible on a flat Earth. Hear them for yourself.
Now, let's say we are trying to prove the globe or trying to prove it's flat. Should be very, very easy, right? I mean, on a globe, we would have a 24-hour sun in the southern summer. That means that the sun would circle the continent.
In order to fit the heliocentric globe model, this midnight sun phenomenon must also occur for observers south of the Antarctic Circle during winter solstice. Depending how far south the observer is, the sun should be seen for several days or weeks, never fully setting, just like it does in the north.
In the one model, the heliocentric model, it would necessitate having a 24-hour sun in the south.
Honestly, if you want to know for sure if the Earth is spherical or not, go to Antarctica during the summer and see if you can watch the sun for 24 hours. You can't.
You mentioned the sun, right? Like the idea is, yeah, if you see the sun in the sky for 24 hours, that's what the globe predicts. And how would the flat Earth explain that? But that's not what happened.
Say that right here. I've got a friend who's in Antarctica right now, and she said there's no 24-hour sun. It rises and sets. If you don't have 24-hour sun in their summertime, if it's not doing a 360 degrees around it like it does the north, then it's not a ball. Simple.
Yeah, so I used to run the largest flat Earth group in the world, but for 6 years I asked all the Globers, just show me the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and they couldn't do it. And then the group got deleted and we got censored.
And what I found is anything that would prove the Earth is a globe, the globe science community lies about. For example, the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
So the reality of our world is that in both models, we're supposed to have a 24-hour sun. In the flat Earth model, we say there isn't a 24-hour sun in the south, and there isn't.
You know, this would be easy to prove, but they hide this from us too. All we'd have to prove is go to Antarctica. Let me and you go to Antarctica, spend a week there in the summer, and let's see if the sun does a 360-degree circle all the way around us. If so, it's a ball.
It does not get any more clear than that.
On the flat Earth model most popular with flat earthers, not only is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica impossible, the direction in which the sun appears to rotate around the Earth would have to, at some point, go into reverse as the sun approaches the south. If that happened, we should be able to see that pretty clearly, and we don't.
The globe model also says that the 24-hour sun in the north will move through the sky from left to right, while the 24-hour sun in the south in Antarctica will move through the sky from right to left. This is another common theme that will emerge in this series. A type of mirror effect when comparing observations in the northern hemisphere with observations in the southern hemisphere.
So, as the flat earthers themselves have repeatedly said, if you could show that there is a 24-hour sun in December in Antarctica, that would prove that their flat Earth model is incorrect. Well, now that said experiment has been done, they're all eating crow, right?
The globe predicted a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and flat earthers said there would not be a 24-hour sun. Because we live on a globe, the globe prediction was correct. The sun never set the entire time we were in Antarctica. All 4 flat earthers with us in Antarctica saw this with their own eyes and publicly now acknowledge that they were incorrect in their prediction that there would not be a 24-hour sun. In addition to their eyewitness testimony, we took video and time lapses with multiple cameras of the 24-hour sun. Here is one quick time lapse that Dave McKeegan captured while we were just outside Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica. If a flat earther tells you that a time lapse is not a video and therefore doesn't count as evidence of the 24-hour sun, remind them that a video is a series of pictures, as is a time lapse. And remember that they are only using that excuse because they cannot reconcile a 24-hour sun in Antarctica with a flat Earth. So they will come up with other ways to attempt to dismiss the reality of the 24-hour sun, the eyewitness testimony from 4 flat earthers, and the high-definition video and time lapses we captured with multiple cameras. Let the record show that the globe prediction was correct and the flat Earth prediction was wrong.
Some of the Flat Earth guys acknowledged that they were wrong about the 24-hour sun, but a lot of the Flat Earth folks who didn't go are claiming that the ones who went have been compromised or paid off, and that the whole thing was a hoax created with Hollywood special effects.
Perhaps they took this image right here at early in the morning, 7 a.m., when the shade was still in front, and they added the sun in the back, claiming to be midnight.
So even the amount of change seen here is being generous. A man walking such a short distance outside should never have a shadow that changes direction 90 degrees and triples in length.
So therefore I'm hedging my bets that if the sun is in the sky for 24 hours, NASA will beam a long, powerful beam from the International Space Station over Antarctica through the dome so that it looks like the sun is in the sky for 24 hours. However, I'm also of open mind and sceptical enough to be proven wrong.
Thanks to Creaky Blinder for those Flat Earther clips. His channel covers these guys much more thoroughly than I have the patience for. These clips clearly illustrate that a lot of Flat Earthers are simply not open to being convinced. There is no amount of evidence that would convince them. Maybe it's because some of them have been building clout off of being Flat Earthers and that's too lucrative to give up. Or maybe they just can't stand the blow to their egos.
To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.